Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Season Ticket Holders. I'm your host, Dane Lillingstone, and it's a very special edition today. It's the NRL Grand Final wrap-up, and as you might be able to see, we have a couple of very happy people here today because the Broncos have broken a 19-year drought. And here to break it all down with me, a special guest here for the first time on the show. He's a rock climbing expert, former dealer, or croupier if you prefer, and long-time Brisbane Broncos fan, member, Zac Marsden. Zac, welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks for having me, Dane. I've listened to the podcast for pretty much since you've started it, so it's exciting to be on.
You better, mate. And just to clarify, dealer, we did meet not on the streets of Brisbane, but at the Treasury Casino. How long ago was that now?
Oh, mate, I think my last shift would have been in like 2015 or something like that. So 10 years now, man. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Time flies.
I still have dreams that I wake up and I've got a shift. I don't know why.
I
It's a
still
weird feeling.
sometimes clean my hands like after, because like as croupiers, to prove we're not stealing money, you would just have to like show our hands. And honestly, I do that still to this day, like out of habit. Like
Love it, mate. Good times. Now, congratulations to you, mate. Congratulations to me because
congratulations to us.
how good after 19 years, long time, Brisbane Broncos finally get up. And mate, I don't know about you. You were at the game, so you're going to give us a good insight into what the atmosphere was like. I've obviously come back from a month-long holiday around Colombia and
It
Mexico.
looked amazing.
It was amazing. Still recovering. Still don't feel 100%. But got back the day before the grand final. Did try to get tickets. And that last general sale completely missed out, unfortunately. But did watch at the Sporting Globe in Sydney. Great atmosphere. I couldn't really enjoy the game. I'm curious to see how you thought. But to me, it was just stress, relief. As a Broncos fan since I was a little boy, it was just like we went through 2015, the heartbreak of that against the Cowboys. We went through 2023, the heartbreak of that against the Penrith Panthers and the unlosable grand final to this one. And it was close to the end. I was confident going in and I had to watch it just through my hands, mate, to the very end because I just wasn't going to be sure. We know it was like we thought we had it won against the Cowboys 10 years ago, only for the last play of the
flashbacks were
game to
real.
decide it all. How hard, mate. Like, we had this PTSD almost of watching this game, and I don't even know if I could truly enjoy watching the game for that 80 minutes. It was almost just like a stress, a relief. But you tell me, mate, at the game, what was the atmosphere like? Because it did look amazing.
So I was sitting kind of like behind the Melbourne Storm section. So it was really interesting because there was so many highs and lows around me, and so like I didn't get the full experience of being around a heap of Broncos supporters, but the stress of seeing so many Melbourne Storm supporters like so happy around me for so long was just it was stressful. I just going back to the entire run of the Brisbane Broncos through the
Incredible.
finals, like my heart rate in the last 10 minutes of each game, like I've checked on my Whoop and it's been over 140 beats per minute each game. Like I
Incredible.
can't deal with the stress anymore. Like I need to like go see a clinician, a cardiac specialist to like get me through if we're going to play another game. Like I don't know if I can handle it. It's too stressful.
The best finals run of all time. I don't know if there's any
Yeah.
doubt about that. Like the way they
I
came back, all three finals games were behind, looked going for all money, and pull it out all three times.
And to
It's
think
like,
about
yeah,
like the caliber of team we're versing as well. Like the Canberra Raiders finishing first in the season, then the four-time like premier winners, and then Melbourne, who we've lost like 95% of our games against them over the past like
bogey team.
six years. Like that by itself is just remarkable. Like, and to come back against this caliber of team we're versing was insane. And yeah, it was. So I was at the Panthers game, I was at the Storm game, and the both atmospheres were electric. But I'm telling you, like the atmosphere in Suncorp for the Panthers game, like it was unmatched. Like I've been to like maybe over 15 Origin series like games, like traveled for games, all this type of stuff. Like I even was at like the 2015 grand final, but like which atmosphere for sure was up there. But I'm telling you, like the atmosphere in Suncorp for the Panthers game was insane. Like the people the people over the loudspeakers were just hyping up the crowd, like, and just the game itself, it was so emotional. It was so good.
I was gonna say they said it broke the decibel level for like highest ever like sound noise from
I'm not
Suncorp
surprised.
Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I was a part of that, mate. I was in Colombia at a family birthday. Shout out to my partner Danny for her 30th. I had
Happy
to
birthday,
hotspot off a
Danny.
cousin.
Oh
Yes,
my
yes, the big
God.
3-0. I had to hotspot
Oh
off a cousin because I was in a dead zone in the regional part of Bogota out there in
my
Colombia.
God.
Um, and I saw the score 14-0 down. I was like, nah, look, I'm going to enjoy the party, not going to watch it. I might watch it later. When I saw we scored, of the last 20 minutes, we had to huddle around the phone. I had to convince the cousin to give me his hotspot, his Wi-Fi, and then I had to watch the last 20 minutes. They had no idea what was going on in Colombia. They rode the wave of my emotion because you could see it all over that face. And then when Adam Reynolds lines up for that kick to put us into the grand final, I did
It was
not think we could win that
unbelievable.
game until he's lining up for that kick. Like, I don't know. I just didn't have that quite belief in this team this year. I didn't know where it was going. It wasn't until he slotted that over that I thought, well, we are actually going to the grand final. We probably should have lost against the Raiders. They had so many chances to win that game. Arguably, also one of the greatest finals games of all time. The way they came back
Like
after Golden Point
top
extra time.
three for sure.
Just the tops and turns. But I also unfortunately had to watch that on delay, which is heartbreaking to say that. But
I
I
remember
was
that.
like,
Yeah.
it was just, I'm trying to watch it. We're out at another birthday, trying to come back to watch that game. Say, oh, we'll just watch the last 20 minutes. That turns into like an hour, based on how the game was going. But that finals run, I mean, have you ever seen anything like it? I know there's been a lot of commentary in this week and then all the wash up, but I don't think we're ever going to see a finals run up where you're behind all three games, like you said, against the minor premiers, the four-time reigning premiers, and then against your absolute bogey team, Melbourne Storm. They ran it back from 2006, but ever since then, Broncos and Melbourne, you know what it's like being a fan. They've had the
Yeah.
wood on the Broncos,
It's been
whether it's in
awful.
Melbourne, whether it's in Suncorp. They sort of broke that in the final round this year, which was nice to see. But we're talking about a full strength Melbourne side against us who've just never seen able to get against that hurdle in the big dance. Do you think it's going to go down as the greatest finals run in NRL history?
I think it's hard to argue. I mean, like, what's second? Like, honestly, like, if you consider the three, like, how amazing those games were, like some of the tries that were scored in those games, like some of the drama, like send-offs, like injuries, just like it's unmatched. Like, I'm struggling to think of like a close second, to be honest. Like maybe that's just complete bias as a Brisbane supporter, and I'll claim it. But honestly, like there's from just my living memory, I can't think of anything that comes close to how good those games were, like back to back to back, and how stressful they were, like just emotional. Like I just like the pure elation that I felt after every single game, like walking back from the pub after the Canberra game and having people like beeping their horns at me and having like just random people down the street who look like they've never seen footy in their life. They're like, "Yeah, Broncos." I'm like, "You too?" Like, holy shit! Like, and then like, yeah, it's just been so good. Like, and I think just like having so I guess like the TV ratings that came out for like the Broncos and Storm game, like I think it's like one of the most it's like 4 point something million views. And it like beat Origin, beat like the AFL Grand Final by like a considerable amount. Like it just shows how hype this like the Broncos team was, how hype this game was. Like and yeah, I think like our key some of the players we have right now, like Reece Walsh, Adam Reynolds, Ben Hunt, all those guys, like it just goes to show that we have like we've captured the hearts of like a lot of the other people around as well. Like other teams, other supporters. Like girlfriends are now watching because of Reece Walsh and Jordan Ricky, and like honestly,
Sexy
it's
team, mate.
amazing.
Let's not lie. They have a sexy team. If there was ever like a casual fan and you want trying to get them into rugby league, you'd put them onto this Broncos team right now and that run to the finals.
100%.
Guys, a lot of casuals. You mentioned some numbers there. I did want to pull it up too. The NRL Grand Final sets a TV ratings record and eclipsed the AFL for the first time in a decade. So that just goes to show the sort of interest that was there. The average audience of 4.46 million tuned
Just
in.
wild.
It drew the biggest numbers in Australia for any 2025 program. And like you said, yeah, beating the AFL decider is never easy. And especially the fact there were no Sydney teams in it. I mean, the traditional heartland of
Exactly.
the NRL. To do that is pretty incredible with a reach of 6.4 million. So Channel 9 obviously pretty happy with that one. But why wouldn't you be? Because I think this final series as a whole, you had so many storylines coming out of it. You had the Raiders who'd become the most consistent team to bomb out in straight sets. You have to feel for them because Ricky Stewart and his men, I said on this podcast leading up to the finals before I left for my holiday, they were going to be my team. If the Broncos weren't going to do it, I was behind the Raiders all the way. I love Ricky Stewart and his men and what they've been able to achieve there. They bomb out. The
I
Bulldogs.
think the Raiders were everyone's second team this year. Like
right.
everyone that I talked to in Sydney when I was down there, they wanted the Raiders to win. Like it's crazy. Like Raiders had such a big following this year. Like everyone was backing them, and I guess sorry Raiders fans, like such a sucks.
Mate, bye, Felicia. No, look, honestly,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
I feel terrible for the Canberra Raiders. We had Corey Hammond, mad Raiders fan, on this podcast early in the season. I felt for him because they deserved to do better, but unfortunately, it just didn't happen. Similar story with the Bulldogs. I mean, people thought they were going to be up there. Cameron Ciraldo's men, they were so consistent, dominating early in the season, top of the ladder. Too many chops and changes, changing their halves, telling Reid Marnie he's not wanted, changing the spine, bringing Lachlan Galvin in. That just completely disrupted that team.
But
And
but
the
they
Wars,
also had but with the Bulldogs, they also had so many buys at the start of the season. Like at the
true.
end of the season, they had to play like 17 straight games. And so like they were going into the finals like beat down, injuries. Hadn't had a week off in so long. It's like I think there's a lot that goes into like the Bulldogs like crumbling. Yeah, the changes don't help, but I think there's also like they'd been versing like some of the more like cellar dweller type teams. Like they hadn't been versing like the Storm and Panthers and as much. So it's like they were doing great, obviously, but like I think the second half of their season was always going to be rough.
That's a good point. Sounds like a man who's done his Supercoach research.
Yeah.
And
Didn't
knows his
help me
draw.
much. Didn't help me much.
Me neither, man. Me neither. And the Wars, again, a team that was there all year. It was just and they fell off. Obviously, injuries hurt them. But just the way the competition was sort of set up, we're coming into it saying this is one of the most open final series ever. And if Melbourne had a won, it sort of would have been like, well, they were the favourites. It wasn't that surprising in the end. But the fact the Broncos did come from fourth, only snuck into the top four in the final round by beating Melbourne. Just an absolutely insane series. So not only the Broncos run, would I say is the greatest that I've personally seen in my lifetime so far, I'd say just the final series as a whole because it was exciting.
It was
Just
exciting.
it had it all. Like I'm glad that Penrith didn't make the grand final, and we were the ones who finished it
Everyone
because
except Panthers supporters were happy that Panthers didn't make finals.
even them, man,
Honestly.
they can save some money. Surely not a six. That would have been the sixth straight grand final, aiming for a fifth
No one
straight
wants to see
premiership.
it. No one wants to see it.
I think we were all over. I thought four was cool, but yeah, five's just overkill,
Yeah,
mate. And
let's
the
stop
fact
there.
what they did to us in 2023, that redemption story of us being able to come back from Nathan Cleary putting on a masterclass, beating us and breaking all of our hearts. That was the grand final that I was in attendance for. I remember when
Yeah,
the final
oh,
whistle blew. Mate, I stood up, I cried. I didn't speak to any of the four boys in my group. Went straight to the pub across at a core stadium in Homebush and just drank my sorrows. And it was like breaking up with a girlfriend. It was depression for about
a
3 or
hot
4
one as
days
well.
after
Like
that game.
that would have been
Extremely,
devastating.
extremely. And it was heartbreaking. I didn't want to talk to anyone for days on end. If we had lost this
Honestly.
one, I don't know how it would have been. I remember
And
2015. Yeah, you go.
yeah, and I think that's why the Panthers game in Suncorp felt so good. Like, because they did that to us in 2023, and we were the team to beat the team. Like we did it. Like I think like some of my other friends were like, nah, hopefully they get a different run so another team can beat them. But we were the team that beat the team, so it felt so good.
It
It
was
felt so
fitting, right?
good.
I mean, I know I messaged one of my Panthers fans, Nathan, and we always go back and forth, but I was like, it's fitting, right? It's got to be fitting that if anyone were to end this little dynasty that Penrith had, that we did it. He said no, but
Yeah.
I still thought, that's a storyline. That's a storyline. As a Broncos fan, anyway, I'm sure that we were quite happy that that was the way it all ended. And then back, obviously, to 2015, I remember watching that at the Melbourne Hotel in Brisbane we used to go to back
Yeah,
in the day.
back when we watched the
What
UFC and the games back to back and beer pong tournament afterwards or whatever the hell. It
beautiful,
was so good.
beautiful day. We haven't even mentioned Alex Pereira as well because it wasn't on
Oh
Time Sports Day
yeah,
on Sunday. We will get
of
into that
course.
later, but incredible knockout. And then 2015, watching JT watch Ben Hunt drop that ball again, being in tears. I remember being in tears at the Smokers area at the Melbourne Hotel. Just
Oh
absolutely
man.
devastating. To be involved in two of and we hadn't lost a grand final up until then, and then to be
Yeah,
involved in two of the craziest, thrilling, most heartbreaking grand finals. I mean, that came down to a Kyle Felt try at the 80th minute, right, to send
yeah,
that
Michael
into
Morgan
Golden Point.
brilliance, and then just kind of like came
Corey Oates
from
missing a
nowhere. Corey
tackle.
Oates, hands on head, like mate.
And
I remember being in the stadium that night, and it just was that was maybe like it's got to be the best game I've ever been to that we've lost to. Like it had everything. It was like if the Canberra versus Broncos game isn't the best, then the Cowboys versus Broncos game has to be. Like because it's just it had everything, and to be in the grand final, like it was like as a Broncos supporter, it was heartbreaking, but as a footy fan, it was awesome.
yeah,
It was
no,
just such an insane night.
I cop a lot of flack in the Sydney Fox Sports office for being just about the sole Queenslander, south of the border, and just about the only
It
real
feels good
Broncos
right now,
fan.
baby.
And I haven't. I get mate. I was a small team when I went back to work on Wednesday. I gave them to it. It's a bigger team on Thursday. I'm going to give it to them even more. I
Oh,
can't wait. I'm going to ride this for the rest of the year.
yes.
But
I
I
mean,
think
like, what have
just
they got to say? We got the Origin, we got
state
the
of
women's, we
origin,
got the men's, we got the Lions.
Brisbane Lions, NRLW. It's incredible, mate. But
That
what I wanted
massive.
to do with those is just give a bit of context into. I mean, people outside looking in go, "Oh, Broncos haven't won a premiership in 19 years. They should be doing better. One town team, all the sponsorship money, all the big stars." But like, they did have to go through. We had to go through that heartbreak of those back-to-back grand finals. You have to go back to 2006 with Darren Lockyer, Shane Webke's last game. I remember, I think I was in grade 10, watching it just on a Sunday afternoon on my couch, going to school the next day. Very different coming from that. And that was a championship team with Darren Lockyer and Shane Webke and the like of the players that they had at the time, Justin Hodges. Incredible team they had back then. But that weight, that feeling, they're heading into this game. We were still underdogs, right? We're still underdogs against Melbourne, even though we'd done everything. We score that early try. Spirits quite high. I imagine it was pretty crazy to feeling, but I don't think anyone was thought that we would not only score first, but score so early in the game. But then Melbourne, for the rest of that half, turn it on and they get on top. Reece Walsh breaks through with that piece of individual brilliance to at least get us within some striking distance. But what was it, 22-12 at halftime? What were you feeling at the stadium? What was the feeling going in for you sitting there in the atmosphere?
So, like, yeah, so the first half, like, scoring in the first 2 minutes, I was just like, oh shit, this is gonna be a good night. And then literally just bang, 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 like Melbourne Storm just remind us who they are. And it's just like, oh, like the people, like the fans around me were going crazy. I was starting like through the week, I want to just a relaxing game. I don't want to stress. Like I just want to enjoy the victory. But as soon as that was happening, I'm like, I can see it's not happening. This is going to be a stressful day no matter what. And then yeah, Reece Walsh. Like I think like being there at the game, I didn't realize how amazing his game was until like rewatching it and seeing
I totally
many
agree with that. I totally
like
agree with that.
how
I was
many
so in the bubble, right?
individual yeah like I was just like being there on the night I didn't know who was going to win the Clive Churchill. I was like, oh, is it going to be like Ezra? He had a good game, made a difference. Like, is it going to be Paddy? He played 80. And then when like it came up with Reece, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. But then rewatching it and just seeing how many just bits of defense that he did, like just the massive plays in defense, the massive plays in offense, just the game changing like moments that he created. It's unrivaled, I think. Like Nathan Cleary's in 2023, I think is like the one that could be said is better than what Reece Walsh did. But yeah, anyway, like when he scored that try in the first half, I was like, okay, like it's a game, we're still in it. But then they scored, I think, just on half time with Jerome Hughes going over like so easy. Our defense looked awful on our line. Like I was just like, this is not going to be a good night. And like I had some messages with some friends, and they were like weirdly confident. They're like, we've got them where we want them. You know, we're behind. They think they've got it. Like this is where we thrive. We've done it before, and I'm like, okay. I kind of had some confidence. I was like that we could actually do it. And then coming in, like having Kawakamitha like drop that ball over the line, and then us coming out after that with like the Shibasaki try, and I'm just like they thought this was over. Like they thought this was over, and like after that, it was like we were running downhill. Like we had so much energy, and like the Melbourne Storm just seemingly just kind of couldn't go with us. Like they were making some weird errors, like just dropping and like trying to like weird plays on like tackle one, and I don't know. It just wasn't. It seemed like Storm were almost trying to play like the Broncos for a
Mm.
second, and the Broncos were just kind of like just doing what they do and just like making shit happen, and it was just like the atmosphere of just like realizing like it's like the momentum's on our side, and then just one try after another, and then eventually Shibasaki goes over for the second try and we're ahead. I was like again around like the Melbourne Storm supporters, and you could just see now them are being the ones that are like stressing, like quiet, like all this type of stuff. That like from that moment, like my heart rate I think would have been 140 plus for like the last like 15 whatever minutes, because like with Adam Reynolds going off, with then Ben Hunt having the concussion, and then Josiah Karapani going off with the HIA, like we had just had all these things going against us. And I remember my cousin who I was sitting with being like, it's not looking good for you, like 3 minutes out. And I'm just like, it's not, like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. And then I think that's when we tackled Xavier Coates over the sideline. And oh my God, that play was huge. Like, it's just so many massive moments. Like Ben Hunt's replacement comes on, Tyson Smoothie, and Smoothie in the next like set, he's the one that jumps on the ball to get possession back after there was like a loose ball. Like there's just so many moments where every single member of the team in the Broncos just stood up. Xavier Willison was amazing. Like
Amazing. Yeah.
like everyone did their part, and it was just so good to see. Like it was like one of the best like things to experience. Like and to have the stress going up to like the like pretty much over full time, like having Ellie Katoa like making the break with like 40 seconds left, and then like passing it to Pappy, and like I just saw all this open space. I was like, oh no, like this is it. Like flashbacks to again like 2015 and 2023, like all these emotions, I just could feel it coming. I could feel the disappointment coming. And then with with Walsh coming up with like just an insane defensive play to cover Katoa, but also then just get to Pappy. It was just so good. Like there's a video of me, like my cousin who is like an Eel supporter, wasn't really like didn't really care that much, so he was just like filming my reaction while all this is going on, and you just see me like just stressing, and then as soon as the time goes, I just jump up. It's like yeah, just going
Mate, I was there with you.
absolutely
I feel it.
mental. The
I feel it.
emotion was insane. I'm like, this is what it feels like. This is the feeling.
And did it, and
Oh.
dude, all those years, there's two missed chances. almost 20 years. I mean, I was there with you. I mean, I was only at the bar and there wasn't that many sort of jerseys floating around, but the feeling, how did you feel the crowd? Was it like pro Broncos or just sort of pro the win? What was it like there in the full-time whistle?
So I think it was probably like 70-30 like Broncos. But like even the seemingly even the neutral supporters were kind of going for the Broncos. So my cousins, they have gone. So they always buy like 16 tickets to the grand finals. Like as
That
soon
was
as it
my next
goes,
question. How did you get tickets? Because I'm a big
yeah,
Broncos fan. I
yeah.
was in Colombia. I couldn't even get onto Ticket Tech. I got a friend, Daniel, to try and get me a ticket in the final general pre-sale. I think they sold out in like 5 minutes, only 1,000. How did you get tickets?
So my cousins, like regardless of who makes the finals, like as soon as tickets go on sale, like they buy. So they've got a group that they've been going to finals with for generations of supporters. So like some of the people there had been going. This was their like 49th grand final, and
Wow.
like
Okay.
my cousin is now in his 50s. That was his 30th. So so exactly his 30th. And so these guys, every single year, no matter who is in the finals, they buy like 16 tickets. And then uh, there's like the core group that they always go with, but then they'll have like a few available that if there's like fans of particular teams that actually made the finals, then they can like if they ask, they'll give them to type thing. And conveniently, Broncos supporter and everything. So I asked
Lucky you,
them,
mate.
and I yeah, I got tickets cheap and also just with my family, which is amazing. And so that they're all like eel supporters, dog supporters, tiger supporters, all this type of stuff. So they're just kind of like there to watch the game
For the game.
unfold. But like it seemingly is like all of them like deep down we're going for the Broncos because there was just so much cheering when the Broncos was. Maybe it was because they just wanted me to be happy. I don't know, but like it just was really nice to have them also support the Broncos. But yeah, so that's how I got the finals tickets was just because my cousins seem to just love the event and they just get tickets every single year and it's just part of their yearly routine.
Oh, well, screw you, mate. No, very happy for you. I'm so happy that you could be there for the game. I would love to do that. I could have used my media pass, but I did not want to
Yeah.
sit with the bunch of journos. I wanted to be with the people and get into the game. But coming into it, I want to say to you, I think I was saying to you before, but I did have a bit of confidence. People were saying, we're still underdogs, even before the first half. I'm saying I was still, maybe just a Broncos fan, but there was a weird feeling. I don't remember feeling that during the Penrith game leading up to the game. I did have some confidence, and even at halftime, I think people were asking me a similar question, like, were you nervous or what? And there was a belief that I was thinking we can come back and do this. Like you said, the sliding doors moment, Reece Walsh makes that try-saving tackle on Kamikamitha, and then they just turn it on and score those three tries. With space of about 12 minutes, again, Shibasaki scores twice, Mariner scores his second, and then they just look on top. Now, like you've mentioned too, I couldn't enjoy the game or appreciate Reece Walsh's brilliance because, man, I was such in the moment of I'm watching the ball. I'm really just watching the ball. Is it their end? Is it our end? And my hands are in my head like this, watching it. Had a few friends behind me. I was the only real true mad Broncos supporter there with them. But I couldn't enjoy that game properly until I went and saw the highlights, like you said, and then I could appreciate, wow, those were Reece Walsh's passes, or that was Reece Walsh's defense. In the moment, you're just like, okay, the ball's been knocked on. Okay, they've scored. Okay, but a knock on, whatever. But just peeling back Reece Walsh's game, some calling it the greatest grand final performance of all time. Just incredible to what he's been able to do. I know last year the whole team had a pretty indifferent season. I was a little bit worried maybe Reece Walsh isn't going to live up to the hype. But this year, and especially the last couple of months, man, he has just proven everyone that he is a true superstar of the game. There's a reason he's the most followed player on social media. Why all the girls want to be with him. Why all the kids want to get his boots. Why all the guys
Everyone's
like
painting
think
their
he's one of.
nails.
Everyone's painting their nails. I'll paint my nails, man. I should
Let's do
crack them out
it.
maroon for the week. Why not? But obviously, he scores that try in the first half. That was sort of just the beginning. He goes on to have 3 try assists to go along with his line break. He's credited with 4 line break. Um, 3 try assists, 4 line break assists, 14 tackle breaks.
That
He's
is
credited here on NRL.com. Insane, mate. Like, you look at 14, Shibasaki had 9. Someone like Haas just had 5, but 14 in a game. Incredible Supercoach game. I don't know what they said on Supercoach, but it must have been massive because they said he got 100
It
fantasy
was like
points in NRL.
140. Yeah,
Yeah,
140
okay.
something on Supercoach.
That makes sense. Still chipped in with kicks, had a couple hundred kick meters, and just did one penalty, one error. So, mate, almost a near flawless game from him. Only had to make a few tackles, but
And I
it was
think that
really his
one error was the forward pass that he did to Karapani. That was like
correct.
to actually be an insane pass in itself. Like, so his one error was like almost like an amazing play. So
Yeah, it was just safe. And I think, and I've heard a few other players, I think Mitch Moses actually came out during the week and said how impressed he was, but it's not about his attack. We knew what he could do with the ball. His defense, man, we've already touched on it. The Kamikamitha one, the one where he chases down Ryan Pappenhausen, forces him to do that flick ball, that looked like that could have been game over moment.
insane.
I didn't actually think he was going to make it. Normally when Pappenhausen puts his nose through like that, you think, man, he's gone. He's gone all the way. And you're not, Walsh isn't known as being this crazy chase down fullback type of guy, right? He's just not known as being that type of player in defense. The fact that he got there, forced that pass, that was a real turning point moment as well in the game. You're like, wow, okay, they're going to back this up in defense. I did have a graphic here too. We're talking about the run, but just to give everyone an idea of where they were at, just throughout the whole final series, they were down 28-12 against the Raiders. They come back and win 29-8. They were down 14-0 against Penrith. They come back and win 16-14. These are scoreless second halves. They were down, obviously, we mentioned 22-12 in this game to come back and win 26-22. So I think that has to go down as the greatest finals run, one of the great grand final performances by Reece Walsh. But like you mentioned too, the players, man, the bit players like Xavier Wilson coming out and doing what he could do. You've got the guy like Tyson Smoothie who, wouldn't be in a lot of teams' top 17s or our top 17 even. You got the Billy Walters injury, obviously heartbreaking for
Of
Billy
course, yeah.
with the ACL and the Raiders game. That opens the door for someone to come in. Kobe Hetherington, just all those little bit guys who did their job. And the crazy thing
Well,
is, Adam,
Xavier Willison and Kobe Heatherton ran more meters than Payne Haas and I think
ins-
Harrigan. So
insane,
so
right?
like both of our forwards off the bench were just getting to work and just doing their part to win that game. It was insane. Such a team effort.
You know what I could put that down to too, because everyone's going to look at, say if Reece Walsh wasn't this, doing that performance, we wouldn't win. But what Michael Maguire's been able to do with the team, which is what we haven't talked about yet, and Kevy Walters, a lot of mixed feelings. Obviously, the way we moved Kevy on after taking them in 2023, and then obviously the bomb out they had last year to sack him, bring in Michael Maguire, who a lot of the old boys didn't like, New South Wales coach. Not really part of Brisbane or any sort of Queensland setup before, to come in, the vomit buckets in the preseason. We all talked about the rock stars, put their shirts back on. Sorry, ladies, don't get in Reece Walsh's ute. To come back in and he put this steely edge in the team, right? That's what we were all talking about, that they were missing, this defensive steely edge. And I think that's no more evident in what we've been talking about with these bit players, to have the fitness to be able to do what they were able to do against a championship Melbourne team that hasn't won a grand final in a while, but is the absolute benchmark in the competition for the last 2 decades, other than recently with Penrith. To do what they did, everyone played their part, right? You had Dean Mariner, who was sort of out of the team at the beginning of the year, to come back, score a double. Demet Shibasaki, we all know the crazy story that is.
I love his story is one of my favorite. Now he's in the Kangaroo squad is
Right?
just the best. I
Trade and
love that.
trial deal. Looked like his career was over. He's in his latest 20s, playing Q Cup. Did not look to be a regular first grader at all. Has now played Queensland and is about to play for Australia. And is a grand final winner, scoring 2 tries in a grand final with a hat trick, a double.
Karapani as well, like Karapani coming out of nowhere to be an
They,
absolute gun.
they, they kept Selwyn Cobbo out of the team.
Insane. Like how many teams in this competition would pay such big dollars for Selwyn Cobo, and we can't even find a place in our team, not even as 18th man. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
but you know what? Like
Like,
how many coaches would have the balls to leave him on the extended bench,
yeah,
knowing what he can do and that he is a Queensland Origin representative, and he on his day he is an international caliber player, but he's obviously had deficiencies in his games off to the Dolphins. How many coaches would have made that decision to go with Karapani over Selwyn
yeah.
Cobbo, mate?
Well, going back to like, I guess Kevy needs a lot of credit for just kind of like putting this roster together. Because he's the one that kind of like did build this roster that then Madge kind of like then ran with. So like, I think like Kevy needs a lot of respect and just kind of how the way Kevy's been acting after the whole ordeal as well. Like I feel like I've never really seen him like say a bad word, just been super professional, just always
Never has.
just been an absolute like yeah, professional in a lot of ways in like dealing with it. But like the big difference I think is so under Kevy, like Reece Walsh would almost I don't know if that this is because he was just younger and wasn't fit enough, whatever it was, but he was cramping up almost every single game. And
Hmm.
so he had like maybe like 60 to 70 minutes of like good performance, but then when sometimes when you really needed your fullback or where like it was like a really important moment, like he was like on the floor with his legs up, like getting stretched out or like vomiting or whatever it was. So like I don't know if they got his nutrition under control with like more electrolytes or whatever it was, pickle juice, but he
Good old
seems to
pickle
have
juice.
yeah, he just seems to be so fit this year. And like considering how many times like I've been to games and just seen him just like be in the backfield like just like suffering from like cramp and stuff, like I didn't see that once in the past like few months. And so like what Madge did with getting the team like fitness wise, like it's obviously worked, and I think it's evident specifically in Reece Walsh because like I don't think like Reece Walsh at the fitness levels that he was with like the last few years, he couldn't have that complete performance. Like he couldn't have been there for the try in the first half and then all those try assists in the second half or whatever. Like he or like the defensive plays, like he might have. So it's just an absolute credit to Madge for like what he's doing in the weights room and just getting these like players to a position where they can come back in the second half against all these amazing teams. We're the team that can just run down any team in that second half because we've got like like fresher legs. Our lungs can use more oxygen. We're just fitter, and it just showed in the final series where we were just like untouchable in the second half.
That's a very good point, man. I like the point you make about Reece Walsh too, because I think Reece Walsh of last year or 2 years ago in the grand final, he doesn't make that chase down tackle on Ryan Papenhuyzen. He just doesn't, whether it's the fitness, he's the maturity to know where he's placing himself at the back, whatever it may be. He just doesn't make that tackle a year ago. He just doesn't do it, and it's a different result, as we all saw. But incredible, of course, Clive Churchill medalist. I bet on Ben Hunt. I really wanted the Ben Hunt redemption story, which is still there, obviously, because now he is a grand final. We know what it's like to watch him drop that ball 10 years ago into Golden Point extra time, to see him just break down instantly. Obviously, the game gets wrapped up shortly after that. They lose the grand final after leading the whole game. To see Ben Hunt come back in that storyline, even when he got announced as a signing in the offseason, I was so happy for him because I thought it was fitting that he comes back. I know he's on the older side. He had some tough years at the Dragons. He wanted to win a premiership. I get the feeling he really did want redemption at the Broncos. I've spoken about Ben Hunt before, but in my job as a reporter, I've got to deal with Ben Hunt quite a few times, and he is just about the most genuine, normal, just Aussie sort of bloke that you can deal with in the media. Gives you a straight answer, isn't afraid to answer, speaks his mind, even if it's not really towing the company line or what the coach would probably want him to say. He's just open, honest, refreshing. I love dealing with Ben Hunt. I was so happy to see him come back. Unfortunate to see him get that head knock. That was a scary moment. When most teams lose both their halves, obviously Reynolds going down with that injury as well, which I suppose wasn't surprising. But to lose both their starting halves against the Melbourne Storm team and to be able to hold on, geez, that is one of the absolute all-time grand final moments. The heart they showed to win that grand final after 19 years. Zach, I haven't even really celebrated yet. I feel like I got home at 3 a.m., but I feel like there's still more celebrating to do. Maybe it's not over yet. But just looking back in this season, just incredible. I remember they started the year, going back to round one, it's weird. They put 50 points on the Roosters and everyone said, oh, here we go. But that chat sort of died down as the season went on. And,
But we
they
lost to
went
the
up and down.
Raiders like soon after that. I think even the next game we lost to the Raiders, and everyone thought the Raiders were just like again like bottom eight team. And so like all the hype behind us went because we're like, who loses to the Raiders? And then it
Yeah,
turns out everyone loses to the Raiders because they're a freaking
good
good
point.
side. And so yeah, we like, and I think it was like halfway through the season we're coming 11th, and I didn't even think we're going to be making the top eight like a few weeks out from the finals. And Reynolds, Bam, Cobbo all do their hamstring, and it's like this is done. Like there's no
Mate,
way
in
we're
that
coming
one
back
play
from
against Melbourne, everyone thought our
crazy.
season's over. It'd blown up in that one play, the double hammy hell.
Yeah. And so yeah, but and in the grand final, like having like Reynolds go off injured, and then having Ben Hunt then go back into seven. Like when it happened, I'm like, I'm so okay with this. Like it's just like there was just still so much confidence that this is the team that we can still do it with. But then like when Hunt goes down, and then Smoothie comes on, but like we still have Ezra Mam and Reece Walsh. So it's just like we've still got such a good team to make amazing plays, and not just run the ball, but like set up other people as well. So it's just like our team this year was just so well rounded. Like it was just so good to kind of like maybe our edge back rowers, like, but they did their job. Like Xavier Wilson can step in there as well. So it's just like, yeah. But honestly, I think for me the best story coming out of it was Ben Hunt, like being there on the day where he dropped the ball in 2015, and just the story from there, like how much just just how much he's been copying it from fans, from the media, just like not being able to like live that down, that moment of just it happens, like people make mistakes. He's obvious, and just to see like like the joy in him, but just also the respect that other players were giving to him, like Harry Grant, like saying that no one deserves it more than Ben Hunt in his speech, was like that almost brought a tear to my eye, just to see how like respected he is amongst his peers. Like just as you said, like as in the media, he's just like a regular guy. Like just you can tell that how much he's just revered and respected in like around his peers as well. So it was just so lovely to see Ben Hunt just get like the win that he deserves. Yeah, it was probably my favorite storyline of the entire final series.
Well said, mate. And I think when he first got signed, I think the headline was, "What do we want to see?" And it's Ben Hunt grand final redemption. And I think
Mm.
and now, and that was a long shot to say it at the time, but now that's actually not many players would get that second chance to come back and have that grand final redemption. And he did it, even though he didn't see out the game. He's still an integral part of what they've been able to do. And like he did, he really unlocked that depth with that team too, because Adam Reynolds and Ezra Mam, obviously that wasn't the starting halves, and they barely got to play together too much this year as well, obviously with Mam's suspension at the beginning. But Ben Hunt just allowed like Billy Walters to come in and do his thing, for Corey Pakes to sort of slot in where he needed to. And then, like I said, Tyson Smoothie wouldn't be in many teams sort of predicted top 17 for us, but he came in and did a job, and then ended up having him on the bench, ended up being crucial when both of them went down as well. And even keeping Mam off the bench when he came back from his injury turned out to be a masterstroke by Michael Maguire
He
too, right? We haven't
he
really
made
touched on
such
him,
a
but
difference every time he came on, and not even his attacking plays, but his defensive plays were just he was hitting people, and like he was just like, and his speed in the middle of the park, like he just like he's just a nightmare to deal with for defense, for like offenses. And so like yeah, he like coming off the bench, like that's just again like Madge Maguire, just like master stroke of brilliance. Like I didn't know if that was what he's actually going to do leading into the grand final, if he was going to like play Pakes off the bench or whatever it was. But yeah, what an amazing play to have Ezra fresh coming on with like 9 minutes to go in the first half, and just like bring that energy in the second half with his defense, and just kind of like just as another threat. Like he was the one that I think threw the pass for Shibasaki, I think, for one of his tries. I think I can't remember now, but yeah, definitely an amazing, like just a amazing team performance. Like there wasn't a bad player on that field. Like all of them deserve like respect. Yeah, it was just
no,
a
you're
great thing to be around.
You're right. He did finish with the one try assist as well. Him and Walsh were the only one credited with try assists and two line break assists as well. So that was how it went down for him. And yeah, again, like I said, it's a big balls play to leave Ezra Mam on the bench, because when he came back from his suspension middle of the season, he
He
sort of
was
helped
so
turn
good.
us around from a bit of a slump, right? And then for Madge to stick firm in these final two games of the season, to not have the temptation to put him in as a starting half. And there was chat until middle of the grand final, will there be a late change? But like you said, coming in after half an hour, which I think he did in both of these last two games, injecting that power, you have to say he's a big reason why they were able to chase down two championship teams. He saved 30 minutes of fresh legs when all those other starting players, have been out there the whole time in the spine. He was able to come on and just have an impact, mate. So everything
Undoubtedly, yeah. Like
everything that,
he is the reason, like not the reason, but a big reason again for those second half performances for sure.
yeah, and it's going to be that leads to interesting how this 17 shapes up for next year, because there's still a puzzle there. You're still going to have Ben Hunt and Adam Reynolds, Ezra Mam, Billy Walters, obviously with the
Well,
ACL.
Walters is going to have his ACL reconstruction soon, so he'll be out until like pretty much late next season. So like it's definitely going to be. I think basically what you saw tonight might be like pretty similar to what they play on the park, but I think maybe Blake Moser comes in for Tyson Smoothie because Smoothie's going off. So I think
Super League,
maybe
yeah, that's right.
maybe Moser gets a start on the bench and get some experience for him because like I've been excited to see him come through the ranks for the past few seasons. It just hasn't happened yet. So like I'd love to see him get a start sometime.
You're right, and Kirby Hetherington's the only other one who will depart from this 17 as well. But I think he's lost. He's a good workhorse player, but I think with the depth they've got in the forwards, they've got that big monster Takora who
Ben
was
Takora,
injured.
yeah.
Eking,
God, he's going to be a monster when he develops because he's still super young, like, still like 19, 20 or something like that. He's like 6'7", 6'8" or something like
one of
that.
the
It's
biggest
just,
players to ever play in the NRL.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's going to be a
Uh,
monster.
and then they had Tolty, the guy who came out of
Oh,
nowhere from the
what
cup, and
a
they've signed him extension. I see, so that's a
yeah,
good little
yeah.
thing as
He's
well. What?
he
Yeah, look, he came out of nowhere, and
he just came, yeah, like, and he was like a massive part of our back season run as well because he came on and like made differences when he came off the bench. Like he scored in like his like a few of his first few games. Like he was just like a workhorse, solid, just made tough runs. Like didn't make many mistakes. Like he was, and he like was hard to leave out the 18 in the final game as well. So like he came in out from nowhere, but I'm sure he'll slot in right where Kobe Hetherington like left. So yeah, I think we've got an amazing team to keep the momentum going. And like I think Reece Walsh like by himself, like I think that guy has potential like to be kind of, let's just say, like the Conor McGregor of the NRL, and
to
to
bring it
be
back to
kind
the
of
USC, yeah.
to be kind of like the the figure that's bigger than the company in some ways. So I think like he can draw in so many eyes just because like of his looks, his personality, his playing style, like how amazing it
Mm.
looks, like how pretty it is, and just kind of like how he's not afraid to speak his mind, how he's just like unique in a lot of ways. He's like relatable to a lot of like the younger fans, to a lot of the women just again flock to it. Like my girlfriend's definitely become a lot bigger fan of the NRL after she's realized that
You're
Reece
happy
Walsh
about
is in
that,
the
mate.
team. Yeah. So
Well, dude, you're right though. The way he brings those players, and I've had colleagues in news and journalism who aren't into sport, but who got into the Broncos because of Reece Walsh and even Paddy Carrigan or Jordan Ricky, or and that's not a
Jesse
bad thing. You're
Arthurs
bringing
has
in
an
more casual
amazing
fans.
like following as well. Like they got
Best
some
looking
lookers,
team, mate.
man.
They didn't just win. They didn't just win the grand final. They're the best looking team too. They won that title as well, mate. But yeah, Reece Walsh, most followed player on social media. He's got about 613,000 on Instagram. The way he even embraced the toilet water. I mean, that was obviously a media blow up from earlier. What happened, having that video leak of him drinking from the toilet water, joke, whatever it was. I don't think it's a big deal. I know Broncos fans didn't think it was a big deal. And then the way he's had a mug at all the celebrations, the way people and fans have brought toilet seats or little miniature toilet bowls to
Yeah,
embrace that, and the
there
way
were
he
so
even
many
did.
toilet lids like around necks when we're going to the Suncorp Stadium. Like it was just
But that's what you
it's
want, right?
it's what you want, and it's just like that's the type of stuff that creates like just talking points and
Hmm.
creates like a fun atmosphere. Like how often do you go to a footy game and there's people with toilet lid seats like around their neck, or like toilet, and it's so silly. Like who cares? Like who actually cares? But like it's gotten so many people that wouldn't be talking about NRL talking about NRL. Like it's just like like I worked in in a clinic, like an exercise physiology clinic for like, and they're just full of women, and they're all talking about it, and it's just
Yeah.
like it just gets attention, and then like Stefano talking shit. Saying that was stuck up before the finals as well,
Bad
like
idea.
that garnered attention, that got headlines, that got people psyched for the game. Like this is the stuff we need. Like this is the
Mhm.
stuff that's going to get us bigger than the AFL. This is going to be the stuff that gets us like in the eyes and in the mouths of like all these people around the world as well. If we're going to go to Las Vegas and LA, like all these places, like we need like stars, and we need things that are actually going to get people's attention, because like the game itself is good, but it's like we need people to like connect with the players. Like we need them to like actually know who they are, what their personalities are, and then what these things mean that happen on the field as well. Like create storylines. It's so good.
100%. He's that type of player. He can transcend just being a rugby league fan. He can go into
Yeah.
that mainstream consciousness of, and he's already doing that on TikTok and Instagram, and like you said, all the casuals who aren't really footy fans who now have an interest because of Reece Walsh. I know there's already plenty of talk that he's potentially going to become the most marketable player to ever play the game of rugby league, and there's a good chance. I mean, there's no reason why he's not already there. But in the coming years, if his form just even stays just the way it is, watching the way he plays and hearing about how coaches and teammates talk about him, they say he's such a student of the game. You give the impression that this is just a beginning. Like he's going to get better. There's years of development left here for him to go and chase this pathness to greatness on and off the field. If he stays as marketable as he is, I know he's got like his vlog now as well on YouTube, and the way he's followed there. He can become the biggest star to ever play rugby league, and you're right, it's going to bring fans from all around the world into the game, man. I can't wait. And like we're just touching, I did want to ask back to back. I mean, that's the next thing now. Michael Maguire's there. There's no real big turnover of players. Obviously, it's so hard to get to where they were. And you'd think like Penrith still have some time left in them. Melbourne's premiership window might be closing in the next couple of years, but they're still going to be up there again. Raiders and Bulldogs are going to be better for the run that they had this year. The Wars fully fit again. And then I'm sure there's plenty of teams outside of that. I haven't mentioned the Sharks as well, of course. They had a very good run this season with Craig Fitzgibbon and what they've been able to do. So there is plenty of teams going to be chasing. But this Broncos team, can they do it, mate? Can they go back to back? Is this the beginning of something special?
I mean, like, I can't see why not. Like, I can't see why this roster can't like do it again. Like, like it seems very flukish, like the way we won all these games coming from behind. But like if we just remain fit, remain healthy without injuries, like just keep key players like on the park, like Reece Walsh, Payne Haas, all these people, like I can't see why not. I think like we've proven to be able to beat the best teams. Like we've proven to be able to like show resilience and toughness in hard fought games. Like so much evidence now that to say that this is a team that doesn't like go away easily. Like I think that's what was so hard to deal with in like I think like 2020, 2021. It was just like if we in those really bad seasons where like we won the spoon, it was just like if we got behind, it was just like you could almost see them give up, and they're just like the effort just what didn't seem to be there, and so now it's just like to see like how competitive they are, like they want to win and they will fight for it, and so I honestly can't see why not. Like there's yeah, as you said, other amazing teams that could definitely go on amazing runs. Like there's obviously other good teams out there, but like Broncos are gonna be hard to beat. Like so, you know.
I think this is a team that is going to be top four just in the foreseeable future. I don't see why not. I mean, there's talk of Payne Haas going to R360, that
Yeah,
breakaway
what
union
the hell is that?
competition. Yeah, I mean, apparently he's putting it on hold, but it looks like they're going to give him a bumper contract extension. Obviously, Reece Walsh isn't going anywhere, and they've got the core, sort of the Tony Staggs, Paddy Carrigan. They've got all those guys lined up. They've got the depth at the club now. There's no real areas that they're missing in. Some people said second row earlier in the season, but the way everyone's performed, the outside backs, they're stacked. We're getting Grant Anderson from Melbourne Storm as well.
But how does he get into the side now? Like
He
looking at our
doesn't.
side now, it's just like he's just going to be like in the training squad at this point. So
He does. He's just in the 30, mate. I can't see him cracking into the team at all. He'll sort of just replace, I guess, the spot that Selwyn Cobbo leaves
Yeah.
in the extended bench. But what a team. What Michael Wild's been able to do, absolutely incredible. And like you said before, I do feel for Kevy Walters as well, because he does deserve a bit of credit for what they've been able to do, mate. But I can't wait to see where they go next year. It's going to be very exciting, mate. 19 long years. I can't wait to have a beer with you and then celebrate as well. Get back with all the boys in Brisbane. I'm sure there was big celebrations for them as well. And before I let you go, though, we didn't get to touch on it because we have had plenty to talk about the Broncos, but it was a big day of fights as well. UFC 320, Alex Pereira, mate. I had a big day on the punt because I had Broncos 1 to 12. I had Pereira knockout. I had a very good day. But the way he came out in that rematch against Ankalaev, were you shocked at the way he did? I know he said post-match he had an injury and that the first fight wasn't reflective of how he really was. But the way he just came out on the front foot, didn't take a backward step, landed that big overhand, and then just finished it with those dirty elbows. What a performance from the biggest star in the UFC of the last year or two.
Well, Unk made him angry, man. Like, I think it was Ali Abdelaziz, like his manager, was talking shit online, and you could tell that like Alex was pissed. And you do not want to piss off Alex because one of like the things that was like out of character in the first fight was how passive Alex was. Like he kind of just wasn't pushing the pace and the pressure that he usually puts on fighters. And a lot of people were giving the credit to Unk for doing that. But like if Alex wants to cover ground and put some pressure on, he'll fucking do it. Sorry if I could swear or not, but and he did, and oh my God, it was good to watch. Like, oh, I love Alex. He is the like again, kind of like a Shibasaki story, like the best storyline. He was like when Adesanya was in a Joe Rogan interview talking about like there's nobody that beat him in kickboxing, working in a tire store as an alcoholic, all this type of shit. Him just being like, what? Did you forget who I was? And then just deciding to come after him, knocking Adesanya out in the 5th round in their title fight. The storyline with that was amazing. Now they're pretty much boys. Like it's just, and now going up to light heavyweight to see him just like again, like you don't want to piss Alex off, just like Adesanya. He pissed Alex off. Unk pissed Alex off, and that's what happens. You don't do that. Like that guy is dangerous.
What he's done, I mean, in the UFC, like you talked about, Adesanya gets knocked out by Adesanya, and then I mean, obviously they had 2 fights, but the way he's been able to just come through, 3-time champion now, like the way he's been able to sort of like avenge what he's been able to do, it's just incredible, man. And like I got to get up close to him when they were in Sydney, and he was taking photos with fans and the Sharmas and everything. And man, he's just awesome to be around. Man, I left my Pereira shirt in Colombia. I was so dirty.
No!
I got it from Culture Kings. I went to put it on the morning of the fights to change into my Broncos jersey, and I've left it. I've left it at some Colombian's cousin's house, mate. My Sharma shirt. I'm absolutely devastated.
Hopefully they get the Sharma power as well, like so share it around, you know.
I got to order another one again. But the way he's just been able to do what he's been able to do, surely he goes to heavyweight, right? I think that's been a bit of chat coming out.
It's like seeing him versus Tom. If Tom can get through Garn, that would be my favorite. And fuck John Jones, like that guy can go fucking fight some can and no, I don't give a shit. Like that guy was ducking like crazy. He doesn't deserve to fight who he wants. Like Alex versus Tom is the fight for me. Like unless John Jones goes back down to light heavyweight, I would love to see that. That would be an interesting fight. But like for Alex to go up to heavyweight, he needs to fight for the title to be a 3-division champ. 4-time champ, like that would be wild. And like it's a fight that I think could like, let's just say for a non-American, like be the headliner of like a White House card, you know, like it could be one of the biggest fights of all time.
Mate, he's 38, so he's got to capitalize now. That's why I feel
Perfect
like
age for heavyweight, man.
That's right, mate. We know the bigger boys can go a little bit longer. We've seen what some of them are able to do in the past. The obviously interesting part about that. Oh, Magomed Ankalaev, by the way, he had an incredible record. I mean, he'd only lost once before that.
And that was to who was
Paul
it? The
Craig.
Scottish guy, Paul Craig, and he got submitted in the last like few seconds
So,
by triangle.
yeah, sort of just got caught, right? And then
Yeah,
that was back in 2018, man. So he'd been on
yeah.
an incredible run. So for Pereira to come out in a minute and 20 and do what he did, incredible. And the reason we were saying too, not staying at light heavyweight, Jiri, Prohaska, I mean, incredible. Losing those 2 rounds against Khalil Roundtree. Again, I had Jiri knockout, so I was quite happy as
Oh,
well. But
what a
the way he
fight.
came out, just the way he fights, and I love Khalil as well. He's a hard guy not to like. And he dominated those first 2 rounds. But Jiri to come out. But we've seen what Pereira's done to Jiri, so there's no interest in that fight, right? There's no way
It's
they
got to
can
be.
do
It's
that
got
fight
like
again.
even though it's kind of like yeah, Yuri's such a fan favorite. We've seen it twice. Like like the fight to make at light heavyweight is Olberg. Carlos
Yeah, and
Olberg from New Zealand. Like he has got like a 9 fight winning streak in the UFC right now, longest in light heavyweight. So he's the one that deserves it no matter what. Like Yuri was impressive, but like it's a fight we've seen twice. Like it would be good, but like we don't need to see it again. Like Olberg's the new face, like obviously super talented, gets knockouts as well. It might not be as chaotic as a Yuri fight, but that's not always a bad thing, especially going after like a person as dangerous as Pereira. Because like Pereira, if you leave openings, he's gonna find it. Like Olberg doesn't leave as many openings, so it might be an interesting fight. I think it's going to be stand up, and that's I guess what a lot of people want to see when they see an Alex fight.
100%, man. I just want to see him fight a few more times while we still get the pleasure of being able to watch him fight because I was still in awe. But to have the Pereira knockout Broncos premiership double, mate, what a Sunday. And then Merab Dvalishvili as well, dominant again, mate. One of the best bantamweight champions of all
He
time.
he's got to be in the GOAT conversation coming up. Like that guy on his run to the strap. Like that guy was beating. Who did he beat? Like Peter Yan. He beat Henry Cejudo. He beat Jose Aldo. He beat like all these ex champions to get to the strap. And then like when he's now like the champion, his what like beat Sean O'Malley twice. He's beat uh, Umar, and who Umar was extremely dangerous. Like that guy is
I
a
won the first 2 rounds from memory.
first two
Did Merab?
rounds, and
And
yeah,
then
he won the first 2 rounds, and then Marab just did what Marab does. That pressure, that wrestling, and for someone who's got like Nurmagomedov in their last name and getting out wrestled like, bruh, like
yeah,
who,
that's a good
like
point.
come
Yeah.
on, like who does that? Like no one does that to a Nurmagomedov. So yeah, like Marab, he deserves so much respect. His accompaniment, he's fought 3 times this year. Like he's exciting. Like for a wrestler, he's exciting. Like crazy. Like how can you be like someone that just wrestles but also just is such an entertaining fighter? Like it's so good.
So that win against Corey Sandhagen, he was became the first fighter in UFC history to score 100 plus takedowns in the UFC career. He finished with 20 in the fight, which is a new UFC record for most in a fight. Got two
Yeah.
49-45s and a 49-46. I don't know why I didn't bet on decision. I had submission, but it was only paying, it
You
wasn't
got
paying much.
you got fooled, man. Like he gets one submission
Hey,
and you think he's a submission artist. What are you doing?
Hey, out of the 4 big things, that's the only one I got wrong. Okay,
Yeah, fair,
Broncos win.
fair.
I get Jiri and Alex. So I'll take it as a good punting day. Zach, I've very much enjoyed catching up, mate. I know you've been a big Broncos fan just as long as I have. So for us to be able to finally witness it, it's just a special moment. I don't know if it's even really truly sunk in yet. Maybe it will. Maybe give it another week, but I think it's the incredible run. It came up so quick that it's almost like
I think
I'm
I
still sort of
think that
processing it.
yeah, the scene that like when we don't have another game on next weekend, like that's going to be when it really like oh yeah, the season's over and we did it. So it's just like this feeling of like, oh, it's almost relief now that there's not a game on next week because again, I don't think my heart could handle
We
it.
couldn't do four
I
in a
can't
row.
do
Four
four.
comebacks.
I
No.
literally would have a heart attack, and I think like ambulances would have to be on standby for half of Brisbane.
We are
You
getting
just,
older as well.
yeah, we're not young. But nah,
Mate,
thanks for having me on the pod, man. It's been great. Good to talk
anytime.
some football. But anytime you want to talk some UFC, I think if there's anything I like more than NRL, it's UFC. I've been following it for like 17 years, like fanatical. So I can waffle about UFC whenever you want.
Mate, 100%. I know you've done some jiu-jitsu too. We'll have to have a roll
Yeah,
next
did
time.
kickboxing for a few years, jiu-jitsu, all
Kickboxing.
the good stuff. So
He's a
yeah.
Joe Rogan over here.
I
Uh,
wish.
nah, thanks so much, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And like I said, we'll have to catch up when I'm back in Brisbane, maybe Boxing Day or whenever. Catch up with a beer with the boys, all have a cheers for the mighty Brisbane Broncos, the 2025 NRL Premiers. Geez, that feels good. Zach,
There's music to my ears, my friend. It feels good
I
to
want to
listen
go
to.
play We Are the Champions right now on repeat for a couple hours and then go to Jiu-Jitsu. Zach, thank you
Perfect.
so much for joining us on Season Ticket Holders.
Thank you. Thanks, Dane. See ya.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being patient. I know it's gone all of September, but back now, so can't wait to get stuck into some regular content. Thanks for following us. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.